I mean, we've had almost a year since the decision, and hearings and so forth. We're just, you know, what will be the focus of that?
First of all, this program is not widely in use. You have to start with a perception that I think a lot of our membership did not have, and that is that we already had Medicaid. It was already a huge part of government expenditure here in the state of Ohio. I've heard people say, well, we can't take on Medicaid. We have taken on Medicaid. 1971, I was there was a war, and it was adopted. If any of you want to come by and see a funny cartoon of Bob Netsley strangling a patient in a hospital bed because he was opposed to Medicaid, I'm happy to share it with you. The period of time that has elapsed has shown Medicaid in many ways to be successful. But in other ways, we are looking to see if we can't do a better job. And I'm very, very blessed. I've got people like Representative Amstutz and McLean, and understand the work in the House. I realize that it hasn't been in the newspaper. There haven't been press releases because we are facing a very challenging situation where we want to bring people along and have support for the program when it goes into effect. As that has gone on, I'm particularly pleased with Vern Sykes' participation in that. He is the ranking member on that Finance Committee. As we have worked on these things, I think we are finding more and more that we can cooperate with each other. I do not want to bring a partisan bill to the floor. I think it's important that it be done in the context of a future for Ohio in the way of planning and insight that will make it work and work well. And we've been very fortunate. The administration has shared Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Moody with us, and they are extremely capable people. So it's not like we're starting on our own goal line. It's like we're starting about at the 50-yard, but that's still a huge, huge challenge. We also have to be certain that given the federal government's position, you'll recall at the time Standard & Poor's raised our rating, 2 months later they had to cut the federal government rating. First time that's happened since World War II. But let's keep in mind what's going on nationally and in Washington. How much money is there going to be for this program? What can we take on? Those are important budgetary items, and we do not want people to be dependent upon a system which at the end of the day will be a disappointment. That is not the point of this thing. I appreciate very much the governor's patience on this. It's a little harder to move 99 people than it is one. The governor is one, and we are 99. And I would be very inaccurate if I did not say to you that we are down the road much farther than we are prepared to discuss. We had real help out of the Senate as well, and I think that's important. This has gone on in both houses in cooperation. And again, we don't have TV coverage or anything like that because this has to be done without anybody waving the bloody shirt and that sort of thing. We have to move carefully, and we are. I particularly want to mention Brother Dave Burke. I've done a great job of recruiting for the Senate over here, and he's one of my favorites. But we do have the personnel to get engaged in this, and they are all working diligently. One of the most amazing things I've heard in the House, and that takes in a lot of things that's been said while I was there. One of the most amazing things is the people who said, look, we have these veterans who aren't getting medical care, and if we don't pass this legislation, who the hell's responsible for medical care for veterans? The very people who are saying, gee, we have to pass Medicaid in Ohio in order to provide for our veterans. It'd be nice if the federal government lived up to their commitment to those men and women who have been injured. And they come off that battlefield, and if you want the details, talk to the Colonel Johnson. They come off that battlefield today in shape that they never would have survived in Vietnam. The federal government has an obligation to them that they're not fulfilling. People aren't getting attended to. So we're not in the business of putting up a program that'll prove to be not just a disappointment, but in some cases a disaster for people and their families. We will do our very best. Is it going to be 100%? Of course not. We have to work as we have with the hospitals. The hospitals have been very supportive and helpful to us and research importance. Medicaid, in my opinion, will come, and it will come this year. I have no doubt about that. I'd like to get it done more quickly than I think some people realize it can be done. The governor's provided good leadership. Without question, the legislature has responded by working very hard many nights to get us into the position where we can adopt something that will be a blessing to the people of Ohio.
Do you have a timetable? You said this year, I mean, the Medicaid department needs administrative time to, if you do raise income eligibility, they need to prepare for
The
that.
bill means that.
If it needs to be done by January 1.
Look,